We are live.
We are live. Yay. Hi, everybody, and welcome. This is Certified Life Coach Institute. And today we have some of our amazing students with us. We have Lisa, we have Jerome. I'll let everybody introduce themselves. So let's begin. Let's begin with our students. Terry Sue, would you like to go first?
Hi.
Tell us a little about yourself.
Okay. My name, of course, is Terry Sue Hill, and I'm a retired teacher from several school districts, but I ended my career with Long Beach Unified School District. And this is a second career for me. So round two, so to speak. And I like to use art mediums as a means of helping people to express themselves, because a lot of times we can't express ourselves verbally. So we do it artistically. And then from there, it becomes a talking point to help people to unleash what it is that they want to say.
Beautiful. Dwayne.
Hello, my name is Dwayne Davis. I am a life coach as well, and I am a retired U.S. Army soldier. I also retired from the federal government kind of early, and I worked in civil rights in the federal government. And now I am starting a nonprofit to life coach veterans.
Thank you. And we'll touch a little bit more on that a little later.
Okay.
Tracy, it's your turn.
Hi, Tracy Wilson, originally from Memphis, Tennessee, currently in Tampa, Florida, and I am a new Master Certified Life Coach and artist as well.
And now we have Lisa.
Hi there, my name is Lisa. I'm the owner of Certified Life Coach Institute. Welcome everyone. We thank you for viewing. We're so excited to share with you today our topic. And back to you, Jerome.
I'm glad Terry Sue made it back. Jerome, it's your turn.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jerome. If you're unfamiliar, I do serve with the staff here at CLCI. And with that being said, I do want to go ahead and get started on today's topic, which we will be speaking about what Black Lives means to our students and to me as well. I'll go ahead and speak about it. There's a lot of civil unrest going around the country right now, and we figured it's a great time to actually go ahead and speak about this topic. And I think it's really interesting for a coach's perspective to actually take place in this conversation. So we'll go one by one here. We'll go ahead and start with Tracy. Tracy, what does Black Lives Matter mean to you?
Black Lives Matter means to me, it's a shining light, exposing the broken pieces in society right now, the systemic racism and injustices that have plagued our Black community. It showcases that. It's also an acknowledgement of that and what we need to do right now. I study art and kintsugi, which is a Japanese art form, and it takes the broken pottery and mends it together to turn it into a beautiful piece of art. So that's what the Black Lives Matter movement is to me. I relate it in that way, that it exposes the broken pieces of society and helps to bring us together and unify us to hopefully unite and have that dream, that American dream, and more peace. That's it.
Love that. I love that.
Yes.
And also, I mean, if you guys feel like you have any questions to ask, feel free. But we'll go ahead and move on to Dwayne.
Black Lives Matter. I know you sent some questions out, and I'm just going to read from what I wrote from those questions. What does Black Lives Matter mean to me? To me, it's a call for everyone to stand for Black lives, to prevent unfair treatment and all the subjugations that come with that. It's a statement to wake up our country and seek solutions for the demeaning treatments of Blacks and using racism. It's a statement against systemic racism. It's a stand against how Blacks have been treated for centuries. Black lives have not mattered. evident in all of our living, including justice, healthcare, and just many other areas. That's what it means to me.
Thank you, Dwayne. Now, Terry Sue.
Black Lives Matters means to me that our lives matter. I get so tired, very tired of people trying to turn those words around to mean that our lives matter more than other people's lives matter, and that they're choosing to take that standpoint rather than to see it from our standpoint. Our lives matter just like any other human being's life matters. There was a time when we only were counted as 3/5 of a person, which goes back to that electoral college system. I'm not going to go into that. But I want people to understand that when they hear the term Black Lives Matters, it means that we matter as human beings. We are human, I'm sorry, but we are human beings. And I really have to tell you that I resent it when people try to make it sound like it's something other than that.
Thank you, Terry. I do want to mention we all were tasked with actually producing a piece of literature on what it means to us specifically. We will have those up later. Mine, for the sake of time, we're not going to be able to actually go ahead and share all of those, but I think mine is bite-sized enough for me to actually go ahead and share. So I'll go ahead and share with you guys. It was uncomfortable to say at first. I didn't understand much of it. I didn't want to misrepresent what it stood for. Over the last few years, though, I've come to understand what Black Lives Matters means to me. For me, it's a task of awakening a movement against injustice, particularly injustice taking place within my own community. It's a calling to advocate for something bigger than that of just myself and those closest to me. It's about being a role model for my generation, to aid those around me who are in need and asking for support from those who are in position to aid. It's about breaking barriers that have not yet been broken based on comfortability and personal solace. For my generation, myself to see it now and into our future. It's about creating dialogue too profound to ignore for all injustices across the nation. Eventually, hopefully creating dialogue and change for the injustices across the globe. It's about implementing change as a way of life and not, sorry, somebody just called me. It's about implementing change as a way of life, not just once or twice. Change requires persistence and consistency. For now, specifically, I focus my attention on the community I represent and the lives whose pain I feel and the cries I hear, the fears I hold. I'm speaking about what's been happening for generations now and in front of me. Black Lives is not only about me saying we too matter, it's about me also saying something can be done about the lives that haven't seemed to matter to me. What can you do? Stand with me in acknowledgement. Understand that you may not understand. Understand that I know you can. That change, understand what I know you can. That change is painful. What can you do? Allow me to stand next to you and know that I'm not on my own. Allow me to see you as an ally. What can't you do? I ask that you don't dismiss my fear as irrational. I ask that you don't remain silent. I hope that one day I can simply be a sightseer alone without concern of being suspicious. I hope that one day I can freely run alongside a family without the thought of crossing the street to shield them from the concern of my evening jog. I hope that one day I don't have to worry that a traffic stop for not wearing my seatbelt. Sorry guys, almost done. Inherently puts my life at risk. I am afraid, based on the behavior of our history, that if kept quiet, nothing can or will be done. So with that said, Black Lives Matter.
Thank you, Jerome.
Yeah, sorry guys. Maybe I shouldn't have
Don't
read that long.
apologize, don't apologize.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm glad that we got our perspectives, our personal perspectives. Like I mentioned earlier, I do believe that it's a really, really unique perspective, a conversation to have it's a really unique place for a coach to have in this conversation. So I do want to ask, how can coaches assist in this space? And just essentially a coach's so put on the coaching goggles for a minute and give us the perspective of a coach on this matter. If we can, anybody can start if you like. Does anyone want to go ahead and start, or we can just kind of go around the table if you guys would like?
Well, I wrote that life coaches can help by standing with BLM. I think that seeking that understanding, if you don't understand, even if you feel that you have to get a mentor yourself to try to get to a certain understanding of what Black Lives Matter. I think this is a perfect platform, and I'm glad that the school has decided to take this platform. Coaches can set examples and be what I call change agents for those that have unconscious and conscious biases with Black lives. I think that, especially as a person that is white, and there are many folks that do not believe in Black Lives Matter and feel that they have to say all lives matter or blue lives matter or those types of things. And the word Black seems to be poisonous to these people. Although that we may have looked at women's rights, child abuse, cancer, in certain forms and stuff, and no one's ever had any issues with taking stance to those diseases, those abominations that we all know. And I think it's really hard for people not to recognize that this has not been an abomination from 400 years ago, and just looking at our history. I also said that coaches can also offer services to uplift and guide Black lives to achieve dreams and goals. It's one of my missions that I plan to take on as I seek to help veterans. I will also seek to help other Black lives that have not even acquired dreams and goals because of some of the barriers that are out there. So those are the things that I've written down.
Yes.
You were Tracy.
Yes, I agree with Dwayne. I think we also, as coaches, need to look inward, do check, our conscious or unconscious biases that we may have, and try to fix it. Coaches have coaches as well. So I think that would be something we can do, as well as working with other coaches, getting involved in creating those open, safe spaces to have these positive conversations on diversity and race. To bring forth healing and solutions, and just to help educate the community and promote unity with the community.
I agree. Terry Sue, you have anything to say?
Yes, that's for me. If we're putting our coach hats on, that's where the artwork comes in. I have actually had specially made some templates that are divided into sections for doing just that. You look inward, you see what you need, see what you want, and how ideally that looks like. What does that look like to you? And if someone can put that down on a board, so to speak, then they will be able to articulate that with their coach. I also I've taken my website down for many reasons, because I have to rethink everything that I've done has been designed in order to meet with people one-on-one. So I don't know what I'm going to do right now, but that's what I had all of these templates made up for, and poetry writing to go with it. So open-ended poetry, and in reading those, they would be able to say what's going on inside. And then I posted something the other day, teamwork makes the dream work, but I was thinking in my mind about our inner team of mind, body, and spirit. Mm-hmm. Get that going. Mm-hmm. Go inward and look at your own team. Is your mind working well as far as being able to reason through things? Is your body working well? Sorry. And what about your spirit? Is your spirit intact, or are you falling apart because of things that are happening on the exterior? Oh, sorry,
No
people.
worries.
Don't you hate those? I should have turned it off or unplugged it. But yes, getting aligned with mind, body, and spirit has a lot to do with how you articulate your thoughts to others, as well as being able to express yourself creatively. And I think that those are very powerful tools right now, since we are in some kind of self-imposed quarantine. It's the perfect time to be able to do that. So yeah, putting on the coach hat, asking the client whether they feel aligned in mind, body, and spirit, and then to be able to express that artistically or writing artistically, and then coming back to the table and trying, and anyway, to put it all together.
So Terry, question. I just want to ask you, do you have
Mhm.
that you work with regularly at the moment?
No, that's why I took my website down,
Okay.
because I had everything all, I had paid for my office space a whole year ahead of time. I paid for my phone a whole year ahead of time. And why did I do that? I did that because I wanted to be fully present for my clients and not have to worry, okay, oh, if I don't have this lined up, then how am I going to pay for my next, month's rent or whatever? So I went out on a limb, and there's things falling apart here at home, and I just went for it. I did have things lined up. I had workshops lined up at Hera Hub. I had things lined up at high schools. All of that had to go because I can't meet with people one-on-one. And everything that I design is designed around meeting with people one-on-one. So do I know have you ever seen that? There's a visual going out there online. It has somebody floating around in outer space. I have no idea what I'm doing. And that's how I'm kind of feeling right now. And I don't mind telling you that, because that's where I am. I'm rethinking everything right now. And so when I say that we need to go inward, I'm walking my own talk right now. And well, every day, as a matter of fact. So through meditation, through trying to watch my weight, because I'm kind of ballooned up a bit, and my spirit, yeah, I'm an introvert by nature. And so I'm okay with being by myself, but I like to also be by myself out in the world. and with that, I am, just as I said, trying to walk my own talk, doing a lot of soul searching, SOUL, and soul searching, SOLE. So
Yeah,
it's both. It's both.
I can attest to that for sure. It's difficult enough staying inside, and then with that being said, I mean, speaking on Black Lives Matter, seeing all the civil unrest going on around you, you have no choice but to tune in, and it's happening everywhere.
That's right.
A very difficult combination to deal with.
I want to also say that all three of you guys for being here today. I'd love to offer to help you guys do a little, marketing coaching. Terry, Sue, I know I can help you. Dwayne, I know I can help you. Tracy, we should talk some more, figure out where you need your help. But I would love to offer my services to you guys, just to sort of help you out and to say thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I can't see everybody. That's why you see me reaching over here. I can see Jerome, I can see Brooke, and I can see Lisa, but there are two other people that I cannot see. And if I'm afraid to swipe.
Should be a gallery button you can.
Yeah, I'm afraid to swipe because I'll lose you again. I'll lose everybody. So that's what you see me doing. But there was someone that mentioned Ikigai.
What?
Or Kintsugi.
Yeah, that was Tracy.
Oh, yeah, that was Tracy.
Okay, kids, I actually had designed, here we go, a workshop. and it was called Beautiful Imperfections.
Yes.
And people are looking for mistakes that they made, and they're putting themselves back together through art.
Well, I
Yeah.
would love to connect with you, Terry, because
Yeah.
I'm like, I see this whole United States, the whole world, and I'm just like, we need to make one big Kintsugi.
Yes. Yeah.
Together.
I have
Yeah. Because
drawing I want to show
guy.
you guys too. I have a
Yeah.
drawing I did that is, it's a heart that's it's been broken, but it's being reassembled, and it's made out of porcelain pieces and sedimentary rock and things like that. And it just very much reminds me of this. I mean, just everything that you guys have been speaking of with regards to your art and everything. So I'd love to share that with you guys.
Okay. Speaking of hearts, I have one that I did. It's a heart, and it's pulled apart. And they are putting it through via collage, putting things together, what they want, what they need, what is ideally, what is everything. Wow, that's really something. Look to you. Wow.
The cool thing I like about, and I can't say the name, you guys can say it for me, is a lot of the art is put together with gold. And I'm very emotional, sorry.
That's Kintsugi.
And
That's
it is designed to be beautiful, and don't forget the growth that we pulled through. So if you think about some of the experiences others have had that you've had, how can that gold piece suture it together and stand for beauty and a reminder to not be repeated?
I love that this has shifted into an art talk as well.
Yes.
yeah.
I do want to give a little bit more on just my perspective on how I think how powerful a coach can be. I personally don't have any regular clients, but I do understand what a coach's job is, being that coach for someone. And I think one of the core values of being a coach is to get someone and have them, kind of like we were mentioning, dig down internally, and teaching someone how to be empathetic and understanding and asking these types of questions. I think at a time like this is if ideally, I think it would be amazing if we could assign life coaches to everybody in the world. I think that would be things. But I just want to point out the fact that I really do appreciate the role that life coaches can play for this particular conversation that we're having. And it's just awesome to see that, we've got five amazing life coaches here that, I'm confident that we'll go ahead and move forward in that fashion. Brooke and Lisa, do you guys have anything that maybe you guys want to talk about? Having questions? Life coach perspective again.
I want to say thank you. And I want to say that through your writing, through Jerome and I have discussions all the time. Dwayne and I had some amazing talks. Through all of it, I have learned so much. I mean, my heart has broken. It's you don't, at least for me, I don't appreciate, while we all have our own struggles, right? But I'm not you, so I don't know until I hear it, until you share that. And it's tremendously strong of you guys to do so, and to share those moments, that were hurtful, those moments that were, I mean, damaging, I'm sure. And it makes me angry, it breaks my heart, and it is people at their worst in those moments. And thank you, because you were open and honest and able to share, I was able to have a connection and start to ask what my role is in this, and it gave me the permission to do so. Because sometimes it's not as easy, because what's my role, right? And so it's in knowing and experiencing it with you guys, I've been able to figure out what that role is. So I just wanted to thank you for that, and I appreciate it. So thank
Was I supposed to read mine?
you.
No, I'm serious.
Oh
Was
yeah,
I?
no, it's beautiful. So yes, if you want
Oh,
to.
okay. I wasn't really clear. I thought maybe I didn't know whether you guys were going to ask me questions or what. Oh, okay. Well, I wrote it on the 27th, 28th, somewhere in there, and it is extremely raw. So forgive me if you guys have a copy of it, but I'll just read it. And it's called I Can't Breathe. I can't breathe when I know that my grandfather had to send his family to the back of their house as the KKK rode on horseback through their neighborhood, terrorizing the residents and burning crosses as he sat at the living room window to guard and protect his family. I can't breathe knowing that my grandmother shielded my mother and her siblings as they shook in fear but dared not to cry in fear of being heard. Think about it. Wanting to cry out, yet fearing to be heard. Wanting to be heard, knowing that those who care won't hear, and those who hear won't care. I can't breathe, knowing that my father served, protected, and defended our nation, only to be made to go to the back of the lines for food or to receive care based on his race. When upon coming home denied a job based on his race, or denied the freedom to live in certain neighborhoods, or denied going to a certain school, or denied eating at a restaurant, or denied being able to go to a bathroom, or denied drinking from a water fountain, or denied being able to sit anywhere on a bus. The list goes on. I can't breathe, knowing that my parents created me and my mother gave birth to me in hopes of a brighter day. Knowing that for their daughter would be spat upon by white children while riding a riverboat on the way to an amusement park because of the color of her skin. Warm, hateful spit that moved across my face like the paddles, like the paddles of that riverboat flowing down the Potomac River. Knowing that their daughter would experience being denied the right to drink from a water fountain unless it was designated, denied entrance to a swimming pool, denied the use of a bathroom unless designated, unable to drink from certain water fountains unless designated, just like my parents. I can't breathe, knowing that at the age of 9, I had to march for my civil rights and know exactly why I was marching. Knowing upon hearing Dr. King speak in person that day in Washington, D.C., I promised to make a difference, but I barely made a dent. I can't breathe, knowing that upon moving into my current neighborhood, a petition had been circulated to keep us from moving in because we are Black. Remembering the hideous prank calls, remembering the preconceived stereotypes I was expected to respond to after insults were hurled toward me. Remembering the word nigger being spray painted on our garage. Knowing it is offensive, it is not a term of endearment, and I resent it being used that way by anyone. Remembering one of our first times going to the local beach and being taunted. I can't breathe knowing that I gave birth to my son with special needs, who was run home by skinheads with a gun and laughed at. Only to be told by the police that he could neither prove it was a gun, nor could he prove that they were skinheads. Of course not. He was run home. There were no cell phones at that time. He probably would have been too nervous and scared to take pictures anyway. After all, it's part of our societal learning process. The indoctrination that those who hear won't care, and those who care won't be heard. Remember, I can't breathe. Remembering the bittersweet experience of our family cemetery declared an historic landmark, knowing that prior to that, white children who lived nearby dug up some of the skulls and played with them like soccer balls. I can't. God, I said I wasn't going to do this. I can't breathe. Remembering a trip across the country shortly after a young man by the name of Trayvon Martin was shot and killed and his murderer was found not guilty. We were heading to one of our family reunions, intercepted and stopped in Texas by highway patrol, and asked why I switched lanes. I explained to him that we were headed to our family reunion. I was unfamiliar with the surroundings and needed to get into a slower lane. I was accused of not moving with the flow of traffic and driving too slowly. I explained that I needed to slow down in order to change lanes. He went on to ask me what was in the car. I told him luggage. He asked me what my mother did for a living. Keep in mind, my mom was 85 at the time. I told him she was a retired teacher and principal. He asked her to get out of the car and to get into his. He asked me what I did for a living. I told him I was a teacher. He laughed. He asked me about my son. I told him he had special needs. He laughed and made fun. He laughed and made him get out of the car, raise his hands, and put them on the hood of the car. My son's hands were shaking. He asked me what else was in the car. I told him just luggage and snacks, and I invited him to look and see for himself. As I pressed the button of my car key to open the trunk, he put his hand on his gun and told me to step back. I had never been that close to anyone who would put a hand on a gun like that. At this time, I'm trying to remain calm. However, at that point, I began to cry. He said I had emotional issues. He did not look in the car. He did not charge me with anything. He sent us on our way. All I can do is thank God. When we were allowed to get back into the car, my mother told me that he said that they were concerned with all these people and how they were going to behave after the verdict. He wanted to know what we were planning on doing. I can't breathe when I'm being told to just get over it. When it comes to our past, those who forget the past are bound to repeat it. However, I remember our past as our society continues to repeat it. I can't breathe when I think to myself and reflect on that time. I wonder what Trayvon Martin's hopes and dreams were while he was walking through his neighborhood where the neighbors didn't think he belonged. Sound familiar? I can't breathe when oftentimes the media will show the most negative parts of us that they can possibly televise in order to exacerbate the images that some people already have. Those preconceived ideas and stereotypes that some people already have of us that feed into the closed-minded in order to poison the open-minded who know better. They want to nullify the pain and frustration that brought them and us to this place. I can't breathe when a knee takes a brother's life as he pleads for his life and says, I can't breathe, while the world watches and no one hears or helps him. When a brother takes a knee before a game in order to make a stand and takes 2 knees before going to bed to make sure he's heard. I can't give in to the anger. I can't give in to the resentment. I can't give in to the frustration. I cannot give in to the fear. Otherwise, my inability to breathe will suffocate me and my purpose will be lost. Excuse me while I catch my breath. Black Lives Matter. Sorry, I'm apologizing.
Very powerful.
Thank you, Terry Sue.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had promised myself I wasn't going to cry, but I just,
Hard not to. It's hard not to. Thank you for bringing your heart into your poem. I feel honored that you're sharing it, as I did with Jerome. His broke my heart. Yours sheds a lot of light. As I emailed you back, it shares grace, it shares hope, it shares fear, it shares, I mean, every word that you can think to encompass what your experience was, and then some. Thank you for sharing.
you're welcome.
Lisa and I were just talking recently about crying and about how we all people tend to apologize for it or say, I'm sorry, I hate it, I don't want to do it. But it's okay to cry, right? It's what we're feeling. And so it's okay. So, yeah.
Healing and tears.
Which is why every time I go back to correct grammatical or any kind of mistake that I see, I make another mistake, and I just that's why I was telling Lisa, I just left it. I just said, okay, I'm done. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I would love to be able to share that if you were sharing that. I think it's extremely powerful. I think it will cause for action.
We're gonna put that up on the website, so it'll be there for everybody to read on their own too, if they wish. So.
Well, we're all pretty somber right now.
I think we all need to take a breath, huh?
Yeah, I if we can, I mean, well, unless you guys have anything else to add, I think maybe now would be a good time so we can all catch our breaths off of screen. Do you guys have anything else to add? Lisa, Brooke, Tracy, Dwayne, Terry Sue?
Thank you, guys.
I just think that I just want to reiterate what someone said about mind, body, and spirit, and
That was me.
how can people get involved in a more positive, productive way. And starting at home, I think, is just so important for all of us, regardless of your race, and ensuring that the people around you are, have an understanding, at least understanding where you're at. And, it's okay to disagree, but to really kind of seek some understanding of where you're at. And then for the coaches, for all of us coaches to take stands. I mean, no one's asking you to go and step in the middle of a fight or things like that, but to try to take a stand. I think those things are extremely important, and I'm hoping that's going to come across in this live.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tracy.
I had, this is for what people can do to get involved or help. I'm going to read some because I took some time to come up with some solutions. I like solutions, so ways to help. I like Dwayne said, to gain more knowledge and connect with people that may or may not look like you or think like you or agree with you. We're in a culture where it's easy to delete and block and cancel people and cancel things. So I think if people can increase their patience, have more empathy and the temperament to gain broader understanding and perspective. Just take that time to listen and try to see where someone else may be coming from or experiences that may not be like yours, and acknowledge that and be respectful of those differences. Also, it starts at home. So, and with our little ones, so speak with your children and even their school administrators and ways to support them in building programs for diversity. Because If not, it's going to repeat itself and it's going to go on and on. So start with the little children and teach them beyond Black History Month, you know, them involved and connect and have those connections with other people and cultures. Also, third, donate, volunteer, get involved with organizations that advocate against racial injustices and inequality in America. So roll up your sleeves, pitch in, things that you can do with other organizations. Or I put write your politicians. They love letters. And vote, and not just in this upcoming presidential election, on the local and state. Get to know who your local politicians are. Know the judges. Learn what they believe in. Learn what their stances are on issues that involve the laws and racial disparities in your community. It matters. Hold your head up again, Dwayne. It matters. You have a voice. So those on the local levels, those are just as important, if not more so. So vote on that. 5, I put support your Black-owned businesses. Share the wealth with our Black community and people of color. So, and lastly, right, it's not just enough to be not racist, be anti-racist. That means your friends, your family, your co-workers, anybody that you see. That means speak up, call them out. Yes, call them out. And anyone that you see inflicting racist behavior or views upon another person, it starts and ends with us. Speak up.
It's beautiful. I love I love be anti-racist. I love that. Thank you for that. That was amazing. Thank you for showing people what they can do and how they can help. And I really, really appreciated that. And I love the be anti-racist because silence is agreement at the end of the day. So speak up, you know, and so thank you for that. And on the same note, for me, coming from my perspective, all of this starts with a conversation. You know, I have a whole different perspective than I did 2 weeks ago, than I did 3 weeks ago, than I did 4. And it all began with not being afraid to talk about the things that make people uncomfortable to talk about, and to just be open and willing to receive maybe things that are hard to hear, but to give a space for that. Right. And also to ask when I don't understand, and ask how I can help, what I can do, and I can't say enough to be okay with being uncomfortable, and to be okay with having those uncomfortable conversations, because that's where growth happens. And so to anybody out there who is feeling the same, don't be afraid just to talk to somebody and just ask. Even if you're nervous to do so, just do it. So it could change your whole perspective.
That's what comes together, grows together. And if we all come together, we can all grow together. Thank you guys so much for sharing. Thank you for bringing your hearts. Thank you for letting us know from your perspective how to help. I'm looking at each of your faces, and each of you matter. Each of you matter. You matter. And I love you all.
Thank you.
Well, oh, go ahead, Brooke.
Oh, no, you're fine. You go, Jerome.
Okay. Just to end a very somber topic, on a somewhat positive note, I do want to mention that I do see some positivity coming from the conversation that is being had. It's loud, and I'm very, very happy with my generation on how loud it is amongst them. And as much flack as the internet gets for having a place in society, I think it's very beneficial in this conversation. It's easy to go ahead and hear something in person and then go hide behind your phone and forget about it. It's become to the point where it's inescapable at this point. This conversation is being had, and it's one that you're almost forced to take part in, which for some people may be uncomfortable. But again, change is uncomfortable, and I'm I'm happy that my generation is showing up, and I just want to speak for my generation on my behalf. I'm proud and happy of them, and I'm happy that I can be a role model in this instance as well.
Thank you, guys.
So with that being said, guys, I do thank everyone here. We'll be back Tuesday, same time. Be sure to join us if you'd like to hear our conversation about level 2. But until then, everyone have a great day, a great week, and
Before we sign off, make sure you make sure you share this. Share this if you like the content. Share it with people. Comment if you have questions. Don't be afraid to ask.
Yes.
We'll do a watch party. Watch with us and ask away. So please don't be afraid to share this. Spread the word. Share the emotion that happened here. That who knows, it could change the world. So thank you guys. Bye.
Everyone.